Hello, and welcome to the third installment of Mythology Abridged. I don't know if you can hear, but I am a bit under the weather today, which is why I can do an abridged at 12:30 in the afternoon. I am at home with a sore throat, and a runny nose. Um, but this might actually work out for the best for today's specific episode because today we are abridging a part of the Mabinogion, which is a Welsh story. And god damn it, do those Welsh people had a lot of throaty ass sounds. So maybe um, my condition today will be beneficial to that. Either way, I can ensure it'll be fucking hilarious. Also, if at any point of the episode you hear a loud noise such as this, you will know that my nose has reached maximum capacity, and I had to take care of that shit. Um, uh, well, it also might be a little noisier around here today because I usually do my abridging at night. And then it's a little quieter, but now it's midday and I do live like right in the center of the city. Um, like on a side quiet road, so there's not that many cars, but there's like a dance studio, two dance studios, which are the bane of my existence. And they make a lot of noise. But maybe you won't be able to hear it. I can certainly I can hear it. Um no naturey ambiance for me. Only wild city noises. Um all right then. Shall we do this? Today we are reading the story of Blodeuwedd. Blodeuwedd. And as you can see, pronunciation is not as written. This will be the case throughout the whole fucking thing. And I will comment on it endlessly because, holy shit, so many letters. Um, um, yeah, so there are, like, it's a different language, I know. But they still like the English. I know English, so the amount of letters that are not used as they are in English are quite insane. Um, this is gonna be happening a lot. Um, all right then. Yeah. So there's like a whole thing. My edition of the Mabinogion has like a note on pronunciation, and it's fucking awful. Like you would pronounce a ch like the Scottish loch, um, or like the German Bach, but never church. Um, there's like a double D, and it's pronounced like a th, like a then, but not a thistle, but not like a D, obviously. And then there's FF, which is like F, but a single F is like a V or something. I don't know. And then my favorite, the double L. Double L, is like a hissy thing. It's chla, chla, which I learned when I was in Wales. And then there were like people going, "You gotta get to Llangedog," and I was like, "Yeah, but it doesn't say that. I need to get to this anyway." Um, but yeah, a lot of Welsh place names start with Llan, which is like the church of, like in Ireland. There's like Killarney, Kilkenny. So in Wales, it's Llan, Llan. Um, sorry, I got a little out of hand there. I love Welsh. It's a beautiful language. Um, It's just that I can't speak it. So, um, someone's challenging me on the thing. Um, uh, um, um, um. So we should start, right? I'm like 5 minutes in and I haven't said anything, right? Yep. Um, so we are telling the story of Blodeuwedd from the fourth branch of the Mabinogion, which is a collection of Welsh stories written down in medieval times by Christian people who sort of added God into everywhere. Um, and you can tell in a lot of places that it's kind of it's a bit artificial. Like everyone's like, "Thank God," and let's go to church, and you can tell that these stories are by no way Christian. But it's nice. It's nice to see how literature and folklore evolve. Um, so, God damn it, I've been talking for a long time, but not about the actual story. Here we are. Um, so the story begins. What's nice? Oh, here I got another. It's the story begins with other characters, not the ones we're going to talk about today, and they do stuff. And then there's like a woman whose name is Ariane Nod, whatever. And she is like the goddess of the land, the dawn, the moon, the something. And she has a son, and his name is Chley. And she curses him in one specific thing, and then someone tricks her into getting him the thing that he was not supposed to hold. I think it's like he's supposed to be never supposed to be armed, but someone tricks her into arming him. And then she gets all angry, and then she curses him again that he will, um, um, he shall never have a wife of any race that is on this earth. Um, so she's cursing her son to never have a mortal wife. Um, and the boy, Chley, Chley, Chley. I'm gonna stop now. His uncle is Gwyddion, who is like the top magician in the land. Um, he and another guy, Math, take the boy um, and raise him in like a faraway place. And he's like, top notch, blonde, curly hair. He can like write poetry and he can like sing a nice song and he's lovely and wonderful. But he ain't got no woman. And he's really sad about that. Like really pissed because he's like a teenager and you gotta get that shit out somewhere. Um, so Uh, hold on a minute. Nose break. God damn it. So, um, Gwyddion and Math, the magicians, sorcerers, um, they say, well, we'll just make woman out of flowers for him. Um, and so they do. Um, They take the flowers of oak and broom and meadow sweet, and from these they conjure the most beautiful chick like you've ever seen. She is like super pretty, and um, and because she is so lovely and she is made of flowers, they name her Blodeuwedd, which is supposed to be like flower face, even though in modern Welsh we will see it means something completely different. Completely different. Right now she is Blodeuwedd, the flower face. And of course, in this edition of the thing, they baptize her because Christians. Um, I'm guessing in the original, like, so these stories were told like they're oral stories that were passed down generations, and at some point were written down, and they changed a lot. And there's a lot of different editions and different like the plot sort of goes around sometimes a little more than it does in other um uh words. There's like different variations on the stories. Um, and so, what the fuck was I saying? Who am I? Where am I? Ah, yes. There's a girl. She's made out of flowers. She's baptized, but not probably in the original. Yes, oral traditions. Very nice. Um, the young, happy couple, sleep together on their wedding night, and everyone is really happy. And Clay's uncles give him like a super nice land, and he rules over it. And he and Blodeuwedd go and live there, and it's awesome. Um, and they kind of like each other. Like, he really loves her. No one can look at her without like falling in love with her. But she's like, he's fine. Like, he's okay. She's like fond of him. She's not in love with him, but she was created for him. Which is interesting. Like, it's interesting that she was like, you can create a human out of something. Um, but that the human will still and like wants and desires, because like ideally, not ideally, because I'm not actually advocating for anyone to have people tailored to other people's wants and needs, um, but uh, like ideally within this context, if you had created um, a person for another person, you would have made it that they would be like a perfect match, that they would like love each other forever and ever, and all that. So again, fuck. So she doesn't love him as much as he loves her. But she lives with him in the castle, and she's like the lady of the manor, lady of the castle, lady of the land. Um, and um, and then one day, her husband, Hle, he goes out. Um, Again, in some variation, he goes hunting, and some he goes to visit his uncles. Um, but it doesn't matter. The point is that he's away. He's away for like a few days, like maybe a week. Um, and again, here we vary. At some point, like Blodeuwedd hears like a band of hunters walking by, and she inquires about who they are and invites them like to her house, and then like the thing happens. Or there's other variations in which she like goes down to the river every day because she's like sad and needs to mope by the river, and then like one day when her husband's gone, there's another person there to mope by the river, and then the thing happens. The thing that happens is that a neighboring lord named Gronu, Granu, even though there's a W and a Y at the end of his name. It's a new, grand new. Um, he sees Blodeuwedd. He sees her, she sees him, love at first sight. She's never had these feelings before. Um, and great. Um, so they're like together for a few days while her husband's away. They sleep together, and they talk about how much they love each other, and and uh, and they start to talk about how they could be together. And Water break. Um, they start to talk about how they could be together. Um, and there's like all these like interesting like mythological like ways of enhancing stories. They stay together for 3 nights, and each night he says, I should go, and she says, you should not go, and you should stay, and you can't leave me. And he's like, yeah, but I'm not going to insult your husband. Um, and then on the third night she lets him go, and so Blodeuwedd starts plotting on how to uh, be with the man she loves, who is not her husband. Um, so she is lying with her husband at night, and she looks at him and says, "Listen, man, I'm kind of worried. I'm afraid you're gonna die, and I'm afraid you're gonna die before me, and I couldn't live with that." And her husband is like, "Ha ha ha! Oh, you silly woman. Um, Nothing can fucking kill me. I am indestructible." And he says, like, "I'm fucking indestructible. You can't, like, don't be afraid." And it's not that, I mean, it's not that she's afraid. She's not afraid for him. She's fucking trying to kill him. So it doesn't help her to know that. And she says, but you can be killed. Like, how? I need to know. I mean, I need to know how I can prevent your death, and and because my memory is, like, better than yours, and you might forget, and I know it's, like, really complicated to kill you. There's all these, like, set of rules, and but I need to know so that I can ensure it'll never happen. Um, and so he tells her that I can. She asks again, "How can you die?" And um, he says, "I cannot be killed indoors. I cannot be killed indoors or out of doors, on horse or on foot, on land or on something, on land or on water." Um, and that's complicated. Um, so um, that pretty much narrows it down to what we would think is nothing, but it ain't. Um, and she, like, thinks about it, and then a few days later, she's like, "Listen, my love, I can't sleep, I can't eat. I'm really distressed. I need to know. I'm really afraid you're gonna die. You have to tell me how you can be killed so that no one so that I can prevent your death." And he says, "Yeah, all those things I said, all those are true, but also I can only be killed with a weapon, with a spear that's been worked on for a whole year, and only on Sundays when people are at mass, which probably originally was some other day, but it's sort of like maybe a time between times, like a holy time um, that is anyway, yeah." Um, so that's a long list of demands, I think. Um, and so she remembers all these things, and then she's like, "Yeah, cool. This can be." She looks at him and says, "Yeah, this can be avoided. I feel a little better about you not dying." Um, and she starts sending all this information to Grano, and Grano says he starts working on this spear, so that by the end of the year it will be ready. And then and um, um, Blodeuwedd comes back to her husband and is really afraid again. Um, "Darling, I'm so afraid you will be killed. You must tell me how this can be avoided, like, specifically, how I can avoid this. You have to tell me. I mean, you have to tell me how you can be killed specifically, so that it may be avoided." Um, and then they do the stupid fuckingest thing ever. He tells her how exactly he can be killed, and she tells him, "Let's go set this up so that you can show me, and then from now on I will know how this can be avoided." So, the way this dude can be killed, holy shit, you guys. We said before, not on water, not on land, not indoors, not outdoors, um, and other categories as well. Not on horse and not on foot. What you may do, it the way to kill this guy is to go to a river and make a bath on the riverbank with a thatched roof on top of it. So the thatched roof is sort of like the not indoors and not outdoors, right? And then you got to get a goat. And he has to put his one leg on the edge of the bath, and one leg on the goat's back. And in other stories, there's like that he's holding onto a tree of some sort. I don't know. It's pretty complex. So they bring him down. Blodeuwedd organizes all this stuff. A year has passed since the last like time she inquired, and she obtains all this information and sends it to her husband, her lover, Gronu the Staunch. The Staunch. Damn those titles. Makes people so full of themselves, eh? We send all the information. A year has passed, and she organizes all this shit. She prepares a bath and a goat and a river and brings it all down and asks her husband if she prepares a goat and a bath and all that, will he come down to the river and show her? And they do. She brings him down to the river, and he is he stands. He has a goat, and he stands on the goat, and he stands on the bath, and I think he took a bath before, because there's also a description of him pulling up his trousers, which is a good thing, because you don't want to die with your pants down. That sounds suboptimal. So yeah, he's standing, and then Gronu, the staunch, rose out from between the hills and cast a spear at Hley. God damn it. And Hley turns into an eagle and flies into the air and lets out a horrible scream and never seen again. Now later in this story, he actually is seen again, but in most tales, he is not seen again. Anyway, he turns into an eagle, and he flies away, and apparently he's like stuck in a tree somewhere. We're gonna skip over this because it's not that interesting. I mean it is, but I've been talking for fucking 22 minutes, guys. It's a really short story. He flies away, and he's in a tree, and his uncle Gwyddion finds him, and he like nurses him back to health, and then Gwyddion and Math, the magicians, they want to seek revenge for the humiliation and attempted murder of their nephew. So they seek after Blodeuwedd, who was taken up her house in the castle, in her previous castle, with her new husband. And she sees that the wizards are coming to get her, and she runs away with all her maidens. All her maidens, for some reason, they walk like backwards, and they all fall into a lake and drown. But she doesn't. And Gwyddion looks at her, and he says that he will not kill her, but he will do worse. He will turn her into the form of a bird, because of the shame that she has brought on Hley's skillful hand, which is also a title. I fucking hate titles, man. I mean, they're hilarious, but a bit over. It's a bit too much. So Gwyddion curses Blodeuwedd that she will never again see the light of day, and the face of the sun shall never look upon hers. She will feel fear all the other birds, and they will all be hostile to her, and they will maul and molest her whenever they find her. You will not lose your name, but you will always be called Blodeuwedd. Now, at the beginning, we said that that Blodeuwedd means sort of flower face. But today, in modern day Welsh, it means owl. And yes, indeed, um, Blodeuwedd is turned into an owl. As you can also see, maybe if you're looking at the YouTube video of this, there's a picture on the screen. I am shamelessly using my own art in all these mythology videos. Um, so yeah, there's a field of flowers and a lady and an owl, hence Blodeuwedd. And and yeah, I mean the story goes on a bit from here, but it's sort of like more churchy um, type things, like there's something, I don't know, people submit to the will of God, um, and women are evil, and Blodeuwedd was the one who like seduced Gronw, even though he was the one who came up with the idea to kill Hley, and so there's like all that stuff of like bowing to the will of God, women are evil, and which we are, abso-fucking-lutely. Sorry. And so ends this branch of the Mabinogi. Fuck. I'm very sorry for all the extra noises produced by me. I promised background noises, but I was the background noises. Um um I don't worry, I'm having a lot of soup and whiskey and tea, and I will be better, even though I have quite enjoyed um the Welshiness of it all. Um uh I'm very proud of myself that I didn't attempt a Welsh accent at all during all of this, because it is very singy-songy and I make a fool of myself. Um, Not that there's anything wrong with that. So, yeah, I've enjoyed this. I hope you are too. And see you in the next one.